Hey, it's Karri Flatla here at Remax Real Estate Lethbridge and KarriFlatla.com for March 27th, Friday Fire. It is almost April. We are now into spring and a spring market that we've never seen before. So we started off pretty great this year. The spring market was looking robust, healthy. Interest rates had been coming down and we were just super busy, and then COVID-19 hit. And here's how it looks. So a lot of people are wondering what the impacts are going to be on the ground in regard to real estate showings, sales, listings, what home buyers are up to, what homeowners are up to if they're thinking of selling. What do I do if my house is on the market? I'm living in my house. Now what? There are just so many questions being asked right now. And I would say the smart agents are having active conversations every single day, looking for solutions and looking for new ways of doing business and new protocols in terms of how to do business right now if someone has to buy or sell. So that's the other thing, is there's some discussion right now with the Alberta government about publishing a list of essential services. The last I saw, there's some uncertainty about if real estate will be listed as an essential service. So I need to do some digging on that. I've just been very busy this afternoon trying to keep up with everything that's happening. So my personal take on it is that if you have a closing in the pipeline, so in real estate we talk about the pipeline, and it's a very long pipeline in real estate. So let's say you're a home buyer or a home seller who needs to buy or sell a home, but you haven't done anything yet. That process is anywhere from 30 or 45 days all the way to 90 to 120 days, depending on all kinds of variables. But average days on market in Lethbridge are, 75 to 85 days on market. Out in Toronto and Vancouver, realtors would fall off their chair because they think 2 weeks is too long. So we just have a very different real estate cycle here. But let's just think this through. So if I'm a home buyer, how far along the pipeline am I in that potentially months-long process? And if I'm a homeowner, how far along am I in that process? Because a lot of things have to happen. The buyer needs to get pre-approved. Well, do you think it's plausible that the banks, the underwriters, the insurers like CMHC are taking a little bit harder look in their risk management at mortgage applications, approving a property, all that kind of thing? So go get pre-approved. I hope you have a really good job and you don't think you're getting laid off anytime soon. We are seeing that in Lethbridge as well. Now you got to go shopping for a house. That's a little harder now because we have social distancing, we have quarantines, self-isolation orders, we have homeowners that may be immunocompromised or otherwise vulnerable if they catch the virus. Do they know who's coming into the home? Are the buyers and their realtor being just as responsible? All of these things. So showings are going to get difficult. And I've been talking to top producing realtors all over Alberta. I also have communication with the real estate industry out east in Ontario, where they have just been guns a-blazing for the last couple of years in real estate. Showings have really slowed down significantly. Okay, and showings are what lead to offers, and offers are what lead to closings. That's how people get paid for their home. The way it's been fundamentally and traditionally in real estate, no showings, no offers. No offers, no sales. So I'm just putting that out there because I think a lot of people right now are rightfully scared and we're not really talking openly about this. And if you asked me the same questions a week and a half ago, I would have had a different answer. So don't hold me to this 3 weeks from now, because I don't know what the pandemic's going to do 24 hours from now, and even the chief medical officer doesn't know. So right now, in the last, March 27th going back for the last week or two, showings have just completely slowed down. Does that mean no one's going to buy or sell a home? No, it does not, because we will always have folks out in the market who have to sell their home, or they have to buy a home because of a job transfer or some other big gravitational life change, right? Somebody passed away, a baby was born, a job changed, financial situation has changed. I know that's happening for a lot of people. Maybe they have to sell. So will real estate come to a screeching halt? I don't think so, but I think things are going to slow down, and the way we sell real estate is also going to change. And that part, even after we get through the pandemic, I think that how we do business in real estate will have to be more efficient, and I think that will benefit the consumer. So for example, this is just me thinking out loud. If I'm a buyer and I'm thinking about selling, should I go look at a dozen houses this weekend with my realtor just to get a feel for the market and get some ideas for decorating? I don't really think that's going to be considered acceptable in this new pandemic world of social distancing. Because the social distancing, I don't think is going to just stop one day. I think it's going to actually change how we interact with each other. We're months and months away from figuring out what that's going to look like in the long run. So maybe as a buyer, now you're going to sit down with your realtor, and I already do this in my business, but you're going to sit down with a realtor and you're going to have a very candid conversation about your lifestyle, your needs, your financing ability, your conversation with your mortgage broker. All of those things are going to happen, and we're going to make sure that we do all of that homework before you set foot in somebody's home. Because now setting foot in somebody's home creates risk, right? Because there's always risk, but now we know for sure that community transmission is happening with a virus that scientists are still learning about. We don't even have reliable data yet about COVID-19. So those are some things that are going to change. One thing I see as a potential solution, and I could be wrong, is we might see at some point, because we have the technology now to do 3D tours very close up, and I realize it is not the same as walking through a home, but what we might see is homeowners who need to sell, want to sell, are in a position to sell, could say, well, I don't really want a lot of people coming through my home. Maybe we put screening measures in place. Maybe the buyer can write an offer without physically coming into the home, but make the offer conditional upon viewing and approving the home in person, within the next however many days during that condition period. And those transactions were few and far between before, but they have been done. Or, the husband is down looking at houses, but the wife is stuck at work up in Edmonton, but they're pretty sure this is the house they want and they want to secure that home. So they write an offer subject to the wife viewing and approving the home in person within so many days. Okay, it's perfectly reasonable. So couldn't you see in this new world that becoming more common? Or the realtor goes in and walks around and walks you through the home virtually, because that's how you get a feel for moving through the house, is seeing a human being walk through the house. And then if you want to view it, then we'll bring you in to view it. There's all these different things we could do. I think we have to think outside the box. I think it's going to raise the bar in real estate. I think it's going to make us better realtors. I think that the consumer and our clients are going to benefit extraordinarily in the long run from this elevated way of doing real estate. And I'm proud to say I've been doing a lot of these things already, and now it just will become maybe the new standard, right? So just lots of things to think about. one thing I want to say back to the numbers is I looked at the city stats today, which is March 27th, 2020, and I wanted to see what that spring market was looking like, because the stats showing today will not necessarily reflect what's coming, right? That 30, 60, 90 day cycle. So from March 21 to March 27th, if you look at city level sales, not board, but city, just city of Lethbridge, there's not really a statistical difference from March 2020 back to March 2019. We've had about the same level of sales, the same activity, okay? Because Lethbridge is, and that's not a surprise, Lethbridge is a very stable market. We don't have a lot of highs and lows. So the sales activity that you can see today, that's homes that have gone to final sale, conditions have come off, the closings will now happen in the next 2 weeks, 30, 60, 90 days when those homeowners get paid for their home. You see how that works? So the conditions come off, the sale gets reported on the MLS. We can see those sales. They've gone final, contractually final, but the closings are still out there. So in April, a month from now, when I pull those same numbers, and then in May, when I pull those same numbers, things are going to change, because we know if there's a much slower showing activity today, that means less offers. If there's less offers today, that means less final sales next month. And if there's less final sales next month, that means less closings and people getting paid month or 2 or 3 months following that. So you see how what's happening today with the slowdown in showings is going to ripple out into future months economically. And I think we're going to see this in other aspects of the economy too. It's like when I talked about the blockades, have the statisticians actually registered those backed up shipments and canceled orders yet in their economic stats for Canada? I don't know if they have. I think that's 30, 60, 90 day stuff too. So that's what the numbers look like for March to March, if you're comparing 1 month to last year's March. So it's good in the sense the economy in Lethbridge in terms of supporting real estate sales seems to have been decent up until COVID-19. And now everybody's kind of hunkered down. They're listening to the chief medical officer. They're reducing personal contact with other people. And that affects showings, right? We're at the front of this too. So I think Alberta's doing a very, very good job. Apparently our test rate is one of the highest in the world in terms of testing people for COVID. And I think that's good news, because that means that we're getting data that the scientists and the medical community can start using to make decisions. So that's really good. That's some good news. The other thing that I wanted to tell you about that just came out today from our Alberta Real Estate Association. So that's our industry association that advocates for real estate agents, develops our contracts and our forms and some of the systems and tools that we rely on to do our business. And they came out with a buyer form and a seller form that are basically like an acknowledgement of the risks that are at play right now, if you will, with the pandemic, and that, you know, we should all be following the recommendations from the chief medical officer, which are changing all of the time. So I think that was really smart, and we should be using that. I will be using that with all of our clients. And again, it's a really good way to open up the conversation. I want to reiterate again that some people have to make a move. You know, if you have a house on the market now, especially if it's vacant, you may want to wait it out, because we don't know when things will kind of get back to normal, but you also want that exposure. Guess what? People are sitting at home looking online more than ever right now and watching videos more than ever. So it's still good exposure, but talk to your realtor about your specific situation and what you're comfortable with. If you live in the home, that's another conversation as well. You have to do what you're comfortable with. Maybe now's not a good time to list if you're compromised or you're not comfortable with people coming into your home, but maybe you can get some really great advice from your realtor about how to prepare to list so that you're ready. If you do decide to list, then we make all of these extra accommodations and enforce these very strict precautions because of the pandemic and who's coming into the home and who isn't. You know, not the time to be bringing all the kids over to the house for a showing, right? So lots to digest, but we will prevail, we will problem solve, we will adapt, innovate, adjust. And for many of us, that is just the way we think anyway in real estate, you know, because things are always changing. So these are just bigger changes and they have more serious consequences. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me anytime. I'm at karriflatla.com, cell phone 382-7335. That's today's Friday Fire. Be well, stay safe, stay home as much as you can, and we will see you next time. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.